Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're joined here tonight in the studio by Dr. Alaa Khalifa, the International Tourism and Marketing Expert. Dr. Khalifa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Dr. Khalifa, now, obviously, we were covering today all the inaugurations of the transportation network, the roads, the axes, and all of these things are working to serve the Egyptian economy. And multiple times on the show you've mentioned that the tourism sector is a service sector, and for the tourists to come to Egypt and really enjoy all the locations and the services that Egypt provides, there needs to be a developed road and transportation network that would take them from Cairo to Luxor to the Red Sea, all in the space of hours. Now, you've been in this business for so many years. How would you rate the development of the transportation and road networks, and also the maritime and the air sort of transportation taking place in Egypt so far?
First of all, there is no tourism without transportation. If you don't have transportation, you don't have visitors coming to you, and you don't have people moving from various towns. There's no tourism without regular connectivity and flights, whether these connectivity could be air connectivity, it could be road connectivity, or any other method of transportation. So what I see these developments is a very good sign, healthy sign for that will help tourism to prosper in the country. We have a target, a vision of attracting 30 million tourists to come to Egypt, and in order to be able to accommodate all this number, we need to have a very good infrastructure, whether it's in roads, transportation, connectivity between Egypt and so many major destinations of that are actually sending us travelers. We need to have also reliable roads, safe ones. We also need to have ports that will be able to receive cruise industry from around the world. So what our government is doing is actually we are modernizing our road network. We've reached, for the last 10 years, we built nearly 4,000 kilometers of roads, which is a tremendous achievement. And I think this will help and boost the tourism sector to prosper, and it will enhance the touristic experience for travelers in Egypt when they move on very safe roads and on roads that are connecting cities together without delay. So I think this will help us boosting the tourism industry.
Well, we've seen, I mean, we've always been talking about the Grand Egyptian Museum and its imminent inauguration, and the development of the Pyramids Plateau in Giza. And we've already seen a lot of events and fashion shows taking place within this area. Now, is this one way to market, to develop the marketing strategy of the Egyptian tourism sector? I mean, I know that you are responsible to market the tourism industries of different countries and different markets. Now, what should the Egyptian market do, the Egyptian tourism industry do, to be able to compete with such a competitive tourism industry?
Very aggressive competition we have around in the region. We have a number of countries that are doing their best to attract low-cost airlines, they attract events, they attract gigs, they attract major conferences and MICE, and everywhere in this region we have very strong competition. And in order to be one step ahead of the competition, we need to think ahead. And to do that, we need, there's no shame to do what like others do, but then we can actually give more, like for example, enhance the touristic experience in Egypt. allow more events to be happening in major sites, such as what we did in the inauguration, for example, for the Avenue of Sphinx. When we did that, we need to do this annually. We need to have events like the one we did in Ricci in Luxor. We need to attract those fashion shows, the big houses of fashion around the world. Just a couple of days back, we did the Christian Dior by the pyramids, and it was all over the news. So what we need to do is we need to attract these events. We need to be very flexible, and because it all come in line with our mega event that is coming up, which is the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum. We need to build up an event agenda throughout the year where we are utilizing our most famous touristic sites and have these different events running around, throwing them every couple of months. And this will be causing what we call in marketing a buzz. It will create that buzz. Egypt will be all over the news as a destination. People will always think of Egypt as is the destination that they need to go. We need to attract international or famous bands and musical brands, or these musical bands that can come and actually perform by the pyramids or perform by some of the very famous temples, or even they can come and attend major events such as these events for fashion shows. All of these things contribute to what we call is the marketing mix. Part of the marketing strategy what we do, not only to spread awareness and get engagement, but also to get people actually coming here by having these events in various months of the year, and then giving them all of the facilities. If you compare us to different countries around the world, especially Turkey or other countries, or Greece. Take Greece, for example. I have one of the companies was coming actually to do an event here in Egypt called the Seven Wonders event. They're supposed to be doing it by the end of this year. When they went to Greece, and they thought of throwing the exact same thing, which is a festival which bringing a number of musical talents in that festival, worldwide ones, and the idea is to do it by one of the seven wonders, one of the famous historical wonders of the world. The Greek government said we were going to be sponsoring 1/3 of the cost of the event for you, because this is supposed to be, drawing attention to the archaeological monument. When the same company went to Jordan and wanted to do it in Petra, the people in Petra said, you know what, we're going to give you the area for free, just to through your event. I'm not saying that we're supposed to be doing that, but what I'm saying is that if we just give enough kind of facility, if we facilitate the event, if we make it easier, if we have the right permissions, to those people to throw their events on time, then we will be the preferred destination, and those people won't go to another third party or another country to do their events. We'll be able to focus on this, focus on the marketing mix we'll be doing right now, focus on enhancing the touristic experience. It's very important that we have to look into our online repetition together with all these events, what we're doing. Not only that we're throwing these events and spending hundreds of millions of dollars on different, enhancing the infrastructure, strengthening them, expanding the capacity, and then at the end of the day, we leave these little things that, like sometimes, we need to look after our online repetition.
Yes.
Our destination is a very, very rich destination, and it needs to be where it's supposed to be. And I think with the right focused marketing, with the marketing mix that we'll be doing, I think we'll be able to create a good agenda for events. And Egypt will be all over the news as it was for the last 2 weeks. Yes. And inshallah, for the upcoming year, when the new museum will be up and running, this is a major magnet of attraction for tourists around the world. I think we will be able to take few steps in getting to that threshold of reaching out to 20 to 25 million to 30 million when we build new roads, new hotels, new airports, enlarging the capacity of airports and things like that. I think we are going on the right track, and I think we all have to be in one wave together and collaborating in order to achieve this target.
Yes. Well, having this sort of the marketing mix, as you've mentioned now, who would actually have the biggest sort of impact on the marketing, the biggest buzz? Is it the government? Is it the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities? Are they the travel agencies and these private companies? Or are we also looking at the SMEs or the individuals who have the power of social media, and maybe they're not following or bound by a certain entity or institution or a certain company, but it's basically an individual effort? Who would have the biggest impact on buzz?
Since the last decade, marketing have shifted, or tourism marketing have shifted dramatically. And it's not the way it used to be. Now, tourism marketing is dependent more on social media. It's dependent on influencing, you know, bringing influencers who are influencing large number of people. And it goes to the experience where the tourist is spending in the destination. So if the experience is the right experience, tourists will always come back. If it's not the right experience, they will only come and visit you once and then they leave. Then every marketing effort and every money you would be spending is like harvesting into the water. It's not gonna give you the right impact, and you still keep spending and spending more money. So because of that, scope have changed, and because of destination marketing organizations, which is like the ones that are responsible for marketing or branding a city or a country, what they did is that they realized that content produced by them is not as always effective as content produced by others. So that goes back to the belief that people don't believe of what you say about your product, but they believe what others say about you. So,
yes.
so your others are more credible when they talk about you. So let others, you know, create the content for you, and then post that content on your behalf, and then talk about you. And this is the new trend of organizations or tourism marketing organizations around the world. And this is why they by using social media, where people are engaged and also people are talking about a specific destination, or comparing this destination, or discussing a new event. It's a very important channel. The second channel is also using direct influencers, people who have a large audience and people they trust, and that's why we tend to bring a lot of influencers every now and then in order to talk about specific number of destinations that we have into the country. The third thing is using the omni-channel in marketing, which goes back to the marketing mix. Is like your destination should be everywhere where your potential client should be. So it is not like we are using outbound marketing like people used to do in the past, where they use radio, where they use TV, where they use. This is outbound marketing, and it's not well effective, and it's not cost saving, and it's just a different way of marketing, but it's not working for the tourism sector as much as inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is a specific type of marketing that actually targeting people who are looking for a similar destination like yours. So when people are ready to go, ready to travel, ready for an experience, ready for a cultural experience, ready for the learning and discovery, that's when you jump in and you just show them your products. You come into an advertising campaign, show them where you are, meet the requirements, you know, put the right experience for them, and then mix it up with the right marketing mix when you are into every omni channel of distribution, and then finally bring all those influencers to speak about you and speak about your destination, and then you would have the whole cycle complete.
Yes. Dr. Khalifa, whenever we talk about Egyptian tourism, we always refer to that Egypt is a touristic destination all year round. We have cultural, religious, beach and entertainment tourism all sorts of things. And one of the main attractions as well is that Egypt is a low-cost sort of travel and touristic destination. And at the same time, you don't want to sell yourself short or sell yourself cheap. You want to maximize on the services that and the attractions that the Egyptian tourism provides. And there were efforts and measures such as setting a minimum room rate for hotels around Egypt. Now, how can you find or hit that sort of balance, keeping that sort of attractive, affordable touristic destination, at the same time maximizing on your profit and not selling yourself short?
I have to tell you something. I have a different opinion than most of the people who are working in our sector or in this industry are saying nowadays. People saying that Egypt destinations are being sold cheaply, especially in the Red Sea destinations, and I disagree with that. And I disagree also that Egypt as a country is being sold as a cheap destination. That's not true. Okay. What happens is that we are providing different products to different households or to different budgets. We have to have a product for every budget, right? For example, we are targeting a number of new markets. And these markets, they're not going to stay in the most expensive hotels. Maybe they would need to stay in a service apartment. Maybe they would need to stay in a 2 or 3 star hotels. And you have to provide that kind of variety. All right. When you compare us to other destinations, take for example Dubai, or take Istanbul, or take Marrakesh, or take any of these destinations, and when you look into the capacity of the hotel industry over there, then you find a number of 5-star hotels that may be making 35% of the full hotel capacity. And then 4-star hotel may be making like another 40%. And the rest are 2-star and 1-star hotels. So, and these are like the rating, the average daily rate of these hotels are really cheap, okay? So you have to provide yourself, or you have to present your product to every kind of budget. If don't show yourself like you're in Las Vegas. This is not. It is not a place. It's not Cannes in Paris and or in France where you go there for a specific purpose. We have to show a variety of products, a variety of budgets, okay? And those who can afford the most expensive hotels can stay in these most expensive hotels, and those who can afford a minimum or a medium type of hotels can do so, or those who can afford a budget hotels can do so. Saying that we are selling the destination cheaply, it's not quite correct, because when you bring a tourist here, even if he stays in pays $500 for a week, still he has to go out to the market and spend money. Instead he has to use public transportation, which we're just talked about. Instead he has to use a flight. Instead he has to, go on a local excursions, so he is actually benefiting local economy. And out of that, we get taxes as a government that are levied from the tourism industry. So, on the other hand, you find very high-end travelers who come to your destination to spend a number of days, and then the choice of hotels are different, the choice of Nile cruise is different. I can see someone who's paying $500 a night, and I can see someone who's paying $500 for a week. So if we block the one that pays the $500 for a week, then you'll not be able to have this kind of diversification. Turkey is getting nearly 35 or 35 million, or 30 to 35 million tourists every year. If you look through these tourists, nearly 35% of them stay in 2 and 3-star hotels. Nearly 1/3 of them come from regional countries, and they come from countries that from Eastern Europe, and Eastern Europe, yes. they like to go and stay in cheap areas. What I mean is, we can sell our destination, and we can sell it. We can raise the bar for how much people pay for our destination by doing 2 things. The first thing, taking care of our online reputation, of the destination,
Yes.
what people are saying about us, what people are saying about our services, raise the bar for the services we're presenting to those people. And the second thing is to present a diversity of new products. So the amount of nights that the tourists will be spending will be more, and the amount of expenditure will be higher. So you will get more of that tourists than you get. It's like people when they go to Dubai, for example, what they do. They may stay in a hotel which is a $50 a night, okay? But then they go out and they spend maybe $150 just because they have number of variety of activities where they are prone to spend.
Yes.
They want to spend. They go to the malls, they spend. They go to specific areas like Burj Khalifa. They go to the frame. They go to the Museum of Future. They go to so many things. This is what we are heading right now in Egypt. We are building new museums. Look how many museums we've built lately.
True.
Look how many products we've been adding to the industry. Look, what we need to look after is Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada and Dahab. We need to invite stakeholders, investors,
Yes.
and give them a lot of incentives to diversify the number of products that are presented into these countries, such as clubs, cafes, places where people go to, shows, daily shows, things that people can do in their leisure time. If you do that you're finding a way for those tourists to spend more money.
Yes.
But when the tourists are staying in the hotel, stay put, then they don't spend money.
Well, whenever we talk about anything related to anything, it's always affected by current global crises, and the Russia-Ukraine issue has caused price hikes, inflation in different economies, and energy crises. As a marketeer, do you now look for different kinds or different nationalities of travelers as a result of maybe Europeans would be more reluctant to spend money, or globally even, not just Europeans, maybe in the US, everyone's suffering the effects of inflation. Do you target different markets? Do you go for different kinds of travelers who would be interested to go to more affordable destinations?
Of course. As they say, desperate measures, it creates solid actions or desperate actions. What happens is that you have a war that had fully affected Europe, and they have a shortage of natural gas. So Europe is getting into a very difficult winter, right? It affected them economically and also affected them socially. What we need to do is that we need to utilize this momentum and get to offer our destination as a substitute to a lot of people, especially from many European destinations. Come and stay in the Red Sea, enjoy the sun all year round. What we sell best? The sun.
Yes.
This is what we have all year around. Okay? None of these other destinations, competing other destinations, especially in winter or summer, have had the same amount of amazing weather that we have here. So what we need to do is to spread out a marketing message to them. It is about time to come spend your winter. This is the destination that will take you amid this financial crisis as you're talking about.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as Dr. Khalifa has mentioned, we should work on raising actually the bar of our services and the attractions that Egypt possess in terms of the tourism industry, and hopefully a lot of development and flourishing will be taking place in terms of the Egyptian tourism. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. Before we go, I'd like to thank my distinguished guest, Dr. Alaa Khalifa, the international tourism and marketing expert. Dr. Khalifa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. The pleasure was mine.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Hani Saif. Thank you for joining us.